It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. Round 4 of 9 for 2020. MotoAmerica Superbikes at Pittsburgh in Wampum, Pennsylvania. It's Pittsburgh International Race Complex, also known as Pitt Race. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time AMA champ Jason Pridmore. And Jason, it's time for middleweight sport bikes known as Supersport.
Absolutely, and I think coming into the year, Sean Dillon Kelly was our odds-on favorite to win the championship. But in walks Richie Escalante on the HONOS Kawasaki 636, and we haven't seen one of those bikes in our series at this level, and he's won 5 out of 6 so far.
But luckily for us, at Road Atlanta race number 1, these two got after each other in a spectacular race with the number 40 Sean Dillon Kelly coming out on top, Jason. But when we finally got to see these two race each other up, what are some of the things that you got to see?
Well, Sean Dillon Kelly really had made a statement down there by this last lap pass coming into the last corner in Atlanta, and I felt like it was a real momentum switch for him as far as getting that race win as close as it was. But come race 2, the HONOS Kawasaki guys made some improvements on that bike. Richie Escalante was able to walk away with a fairly convincing win in race number 2.
Yeah, and a lot of talk going on about those changes that they made at Road Atlanta, because we had 2 weekends back-to-back at Road America, so they had a good setup. They came to Road Atlanta and said, we need to tweak it just a little bit. But Jason, as Richie Escalante and his HONOS team fast forward to now Pitt Race, they had a whole new challenge on their hands. Here's a look inside the numbers at the careers. You can see Richie Escalante has been in and out of the series for a while, but since 2018, he's had a steady progression. As for Sean Dillon Kelly, this is a small sample size of a very talented young man.
Absolutely, and we are coming back to a track that he had a great amount of success at last year, Greg. Coming in here, winning his first 2 races, doing the double, beating his teammate Bobby Fong at the time, who would go on to win the championship. I think Sean comes in here with a lot of confidence, so we'll see how he gets on with the first race later on today.
And of course, we've got to talk about another rider who's led a couple of turns. He's led a couple of laps. It's Brandon Posh. And for Brandon Posh, he's the 2019 British Superbike Moto3 champion, and he comes back to the United States in a full Supersport program.
Yeah, and it's great to see that he's going to be involved in our series all year under the Celtic banner. He's been on the podium. He's the guy that's kind of the next guy that's been pushing those two at the front. He's led some races, as you say, so hopefully this will be a better track for him this weekend.
And now it's time to welcome in the third member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa, who had a chance to catch up with the number 21, Brandon Posh.
Greg, last round at Road Atlanta, we saw Brandon Posh secure a pair of third-place finishes for the weekend. Brandon, you have been continuously making steady progress. You even led a few laps at the last round. What's it going to take to give you that final push to get to the top step of the podium?
Yeah, right now we're just really working on tire management throughout the whole race, because I know I have the pace at the beginning, and then I kind of fade away a little bit towards the end. And Road America 2, I led a few corners or a lap, and then Road Atlanta, I led 2 or 3 laps, so we're getting closer and closer. It's just at the end of the race, I'm struggling a bit with tire management, so that's the main thing for us.
All right, we'll see you on the grid. Greg, Jason, there you have it.
Love the honest comments from Brandon Posh, Jason, but he and the rest of the riders have got to figure out Pitt Race. This is a phenomenal racetrack, 2.78 miles, a lot of turns, and Jason, ups and downs.
Greg, when you look at this track map, and you can see in our back shot there's a ton of elevation here. There's not one corner that I can think of out there that is actually flat. You're either going up or down, you're braking up, or you're braking downhill. Turn 1 here is very hard. Turn 3 is a place where you're going to see some passing, but it's a fantastic track. We have a chicane built in the back there to make the track a little safer. So Pitt Race is a new home for MotoAmerica, and they've done a great job here.
This place is awesome. And what about this guy, Jason Aguilar? He's looking to take the next step and close the gap to the leaders, as well as this young man, Kevin Almeida. He is on the gas so far this weekend.
Today's Supersport coverage is sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
So the run to the checkered flag, is it going to happen for the 17-year-old Sean Dillon Kelly? Onto the front straightaway he comes, and he takes the checkered flag.
Today is all about Sean Dillon Kelly, Greg. What a victory for him.
Sean Dillon Kelly, aggressive move. There goes Hayden Gillum. They're side by side. To the flag they go. It's a full-on drag race. Who's going to win this? They touch. Coming across the line, it's going to be Sean Dillon Kelly.
The youngest ever double winner in MotoAmerica Supersport history, Sean Dillon Kelly.
Unbelievable race for SDK 40 last year on the M4X Star Suzuki. He continues his second season on that team, and he's got his hands full with Richie Escalante. A lot of great stuff going on here at Pitt Race. Tons of fans out enjoying themselves, and a good overhead look at the paddock. Jason Pridmore, here's a look at our starting grid. It's the right part of your screen this time is Richie Escalante, Sean Dillon Kelly, and Kevin Almeida on the front row.
Yeah, and what a great run today by Benjamin Smith. Would love to see him put a good run in here today. Brandon Posh and Jason Aguilar on row 2. So maybe Benjamin Smith will be that new guy that can step up today, Greg. Lucas Silva, Xavier Zayat, Nolan Lampkin out row 3, and then Angles, Minster, and Jarrett Nassani. Nate Minster coming from row 4, 5th in the points. Thermiotis, Yankowski, LaRoche. Good to see CJ back. And then in row 6, we got Wasserbauer, Zaragoza, and Coleman. And just on back on row 7, we got Tony Blackall, Anthony Furia, and Austin Miller. Greg rounding out the grid. Now, we had a few guys miss that siding lap, so I don't know if you noticed, G-Dub, but we had a couple people with some, there were some grid spots that were empty. So just looking to see that those guys kind of make their way back through. And I didn't see him, Greg, and one of them is Kevin Almeida.
Yeah.
So I'm looking, they might still be down at the end of pit lane.
Yeah, because the pace car, now here come some of the riders. They were released late. So basically what we're talking about is some of these riders didn't actually make the sighting lap, and they take their grid position.
And it looks like Almeida's, they're going to have to go to the back of the grid.
So
our third place qualifier, Kevin Almeida. In fact, it looks like both Altus bikes maybe back there. So I'm looking for Jarrett Nassani.
Wow, and a great qualifying effort for the 16, Kevin Almeida, who was supposed to be on the front row. And he is now buried back.
That's a big opportunity for those guys sitting right behind. And Jason Aguilar is going to have nobody in front of him coming from the second row. He's going to have nobody, so he's going to have a nice clean shot down into turn 1. He would be on the far right side of our screen there next to Brandon Posh. And you can see everybody's a little bit confused at why we're having this issue, but you can see both Altus bikes back there. I see number 31, Gary Jankowski is back there, and I know he qualified a little bit further up. So that's a pretty big blow for about 5 or 6 of the guys. In fact, one of them are getting pushed off in the back on the grid. It is one of the Altus bikes getting pushed off, Greg. It looks like it could be Nassani.
Yeah, it is Nassani right there on that Altus Motorsports GSX-R. So we're ready to go racing as that warm-up lap is over.
It's a long hold here, too.
And you can see, long hold. Hole in the front row as Kevin Almeida's in the back. So it's time to go racing. Supersport race number 1. Our pole sitter, Richie Escalante, left part of your screen on that Kawasaki. Revs are up, and we're away racing. Oh, it looks like Brandon Posh got a good launch, but so did the 2 riders on front. Here we go. Very tricky turn number 1 in the first lap, and it's Sean Dillon Kelly who bends it in, and he'll grab the lead for the moment.
Xavier Zayat from the 3rd row got a tremendous start, Greg. He was up to 4th at one moment. As you can see, these guys heading up to turn 3 right now. Brandon Posh trying to hold on to that second spot. Escalante is trying to squeeze in between him and the leader, Sean Dillon Kelly, as they roll up into turn 3 on the first lap. Benjamin Smith makes his way around Xavier Zayat. Zayat, again, Greg, got a tremendous start. He was up to 4th at one point. Aguilar and Ben Smith have both been able to get by him.
Yeah, Aguilar in 4th spot on that blue and white motorcycle. So Jason Aguilar on that Riders Law Yamaha R6 in the mix as well. Under braking, Sean Dillon Kelly holding off Richie Escalante. Jason, before the race, Escalante told me the big issue for them was, what tire do we choose? There was a harder option and a softer option that he had in mind, and he said, this was probably 20 minutes ago when I saw him, that he was going to go for the harder option. I said, why are you going to do that, Richie? He said, not only do I want to make sure it goes to the end of the race, Jason, but he also said, just in case, looking at the big picture, what if there's a red flag in this race? I need this thing to do another heat cycle.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So thinking about the overall picture, absolutely. Oh, side by side, they go up front. You could see the leader, Escalante, was trying to make a move on Sean Dillon Kelly, and he holds him off for the time being. Into the chicane they go. Very tricky section of the racetrack. If for some reason you don't make it,
I think Aguilar missed it, but he didn't gain a spot. So
that's the big deal.
Right
if you miss the chicane, you cannot advance your position. You have to roll out and get back into the position you were in before you got to the chicane. Oh, up and out of the saddle almost.
Is moving around a lot, isn't it there, Greg?
And that might be that tire choice. It might take a lap or 2 for that Dunlop to heat up on Richie Escalante's motorcycle. So M4X Star Suzuki, Sean Dillon Kelly, 18 years old, leads the way from 25-year-old Richie Escalante, HONOS Kawasaki. That Kawasaki, of course, being developed by Graves Motorsports out in California. a package deal as Escalante sends it sideways, Jason, trying to get that ZX6R slowed down. Brandon Posh still holding on to third, but starting to lose touch with the front two.
Yeah, these two guys had about a half a second a lap on the rest of the field. You could tell by their qualifying times, Greg, low 44s for the two men out front. So now it's going to be a matter of Brandon Posh trying to actually hold on to that spot because he's got some people coming. And how about that Alta Sports Motorsports bike in the background? Oh, we have two guys down, Greg. Looks like number 66 is Patrick Coleman. I'm trying to see who the other rider is. Both riders are okay.
We knew that the 72 bike was near him.
Okay.
Of Anthony Fury, and so was Tony Blackall. So we'll get that a little bit later, but
Kevin Almeida has come from the last row or thereabouts and has moved himself into 7th place. So the guy who should have been on the front row is right on the back of this lead group. You've got Xavier Zayat in this group still, and you can see Escalante is making a big push to go to the left side and pass Sean Dillon Kelly. He's not going to be able to get it done in there. How about Posh? Posh is now going to have a look up the inside of Escalante as they go down into this very tricky chicane. One thing I wanted to talk about with this track is it's not an easy place to pass. Here you go, Escalante making it go. There you
Escalante
go.
just made a liar out of you, JP.
Yep, he certainly did, but it isn't, and it's a big commitment everywhere to go by. So now will STK be able to get into the draft of that Kawasaki and make a maneuver back down into turn 1?
So Escalante will come across the line to be credited with the lead, a 46.0, fastest lap of the race as our first lap at speed. So there goes the HONOS Kawasaki rider, Richie Escalante, our points leader. So far for Escalante, 5 wins and 1 second place finish. He has had his way in Supersport. Sean Dillon Kelly close and Brandon Posh in the mix on that Celtic HSBK Racing motorcycles. You can see the incident here, left part of your screen, Jason.
Wow, yeah, they both just kind of, looks like somebody got underneath somebody and they both get in that grass. When you get in that grass, you're so compromised, especially here. You can see where the air fence is, and both riders were up and okay. That's the main thing there.
Yeah, I think that was the 72, maybe, of Anthony Furia involved in the mix as well. Back up front we go. Lap 3 of 16. Richie Escalante had gotten by Sean Dillon Kelly.
Look at this
and
pass.
SDK trying to go up the inside. Good move by SDK. It's a switchback, so we'll have position. So there's another lead change, and all of a sudden Posh, is he going to do it? So Brandon Posh on the 21 gets by Richie Escalante. We have a race on our hands, folks.
Best time to do it. When that guy gets passed in front of you, if you're running in third, you want to attack that place in second place, that person in second place. That's exactly what Posh did. So you can see, Greg, when these guys start messing around with each other, and look at Almeida, he's up to 5th now behind Aguilar.
Unreal.
But Posh moves himself up into 2nd. He's going for the lead. No, he's not going to quite make it, but now we got 6 riders at the front. We haven't seen this all year.
That chicane gets awfully snug once you get off the brakes and try to get the bike turned. So it's M4X Star Suzuki's Sean Dillon Kelly, double race winner here from last year. Brandon Posh in 2nd. Richie Escalante, Aguilar in the mix. Almeida.
Benjamin Smith
as well. Almeida had a problem. You can see that he went wide, so they've changed positions as Smith now goes up in the 5th spot. And a move by Richie Escalante into 2nd place.
Really feel like Richie likes to get out front and run his own pace, and he doesn't look like he's going to have his own way here today as far as being able to do that. A little bit further back, Benjamin Smith and Almeida are going in there side by side. That pass gets made for Benjamin Smith. And you can see Xavier's eye just falling off the back of these guys.
What a
doing
race we
doing
have.
his best to stay in there, though.
Down to the bottom, turn 6 area. We're coming up to a spectacular part of pit race. Into 7, 8, 9, these switchbacks. Very physical racetrack, no place to rest. As I thought for a moment after Richie Escalante got by Sean Dillon Kelly, we would start to see big chunks of time drop to see if SDK was able to manage or maintain the pace of Richie Escalante. And I think Sean Dillon Kelly, when he talks to his crew, they sit down and they talk race strategy all the time. And this is exactly what you have to do to Richie Escalante. You've got to race him up. As Escalante, it looked like he wanted to try to have a go at him, but the rear end started to spin and he had to roll out of it. Left part of your screen replay.
And here you go. This is in the S's here on the left side of our screen. That's a great pass by Sean Dillon Kelly right in the middle of the S's. On the right side of our screen, you can see Benjamin Smith has now worked his way into 4th. Tremendous effort from the 88. And this is going to be the pass for 2nd on the left. Brandon's bike looks really good through the S's, and he's able to straight line this little bit as they roll over into turn 11, Greg. Fast little right-hand kick, and this is going to be down into turn 1. Escalante slides back up underneath and puts himself in between those guys again. So they're coming around now, Greg. 12 to go.
Benjamin Smith has made his way up to fourth. He got around Jason Aguilar. He's the number 88 bike in your screen. So Benjamin Smith is on an absolute tear right now.
Fastest lap of the race, Benjamin Smith, number 88 there. Like Greg says, he's starting to chip away at those guys in the lead three. And what a big confidence boost it's going to be for him, as well as Aguilar, who looks up underneath of Benjamin now as they roll into turn three. Those guys are going at it hard there.
And Hannah, that gives Brandon Posh a little bit of breathing room as he sits in third.
You know, I spoke to Brandon this morning. He said he was looking for some more rear grip. So the team made changes to his rear shock and some gearing changes. But Brandon said he's really trying not to overthink things and really just trying to relax. And he said as soon as he hits the track today, he was ready to do battle. So I think it's safe to say that that strategy is working for him so far today.
Yeah, his bike looks actually really good. Maybe better than I've seen it all weekend, Hannah. And you'll see through these S's, Brandon will pull up back on the back of these guys by the time they get to turn 12. Right now, they're heading in from 9 to 10. And Brandon looks really comfortable on that R6 all through there. You can see he actually gaps the guys behind who are all in that big battle themselves. Escalante, though, Greg, I don't think it's going to be too long till he takes another shot. Pretty good pass that he made early in that last corner. Wouldn't be surprised to see that one be tried again.
So number 40 is Sean Dillon Kelly, M4X Star Suzuki. He leads. Oh, just from that angle of camera shot, the number 54, Richie Escalante, thought he was going to try to take over lead. Oh, and Escalante gets in there a little bit deep, but he was able to hold on to his position in second spot in that tricky chicane. And then you have the 21 of Brandon Posh. They're starting to eke away from the 88 of Benjamin Smith, 96, Jason Aguilar. And what an impressive ride from the 16 of Kevin Almeida back there, coming from nearly last on the grid after missing the sighting lap.
Here we go. He's going to have a look down as they come down into turn one. Not quite close enough there, but Benjamin Smith and Jason Aguilar went back and forth about 2 or 3 times that lap for Benjamin to take that spot back. So he just wants to get his head down and try to catch those leaders the best he can. If Benjamin can maybe have a lap without getting messed with into turn 3, you can see he's very defensive. Good for him as he heads off into turn 3. Now he can put his head down, try to catch those 3 in front of him because he's got pace, Greg.
Last time by, Sean Dillon Kelly did a 45.8. They qualified at 44.3. 44.3 is fast. It's not a blistering pace up front, but a manageable pace. It's part of why you're seeing such great race action. Richie Escalante. You know, one of the things, too, about that rear tire, Jason, is you see Richie just leaving black marks under braking off the rear tire, is thinking about later on in this race, what is he going to have left on that rear Dunlop tire that's going to allow him to go attack Sean Dillon Kelly?
Well, really, if he rolls through the chicane at the same pace as STK in the front, he'll be able to do something with him in the last corner. He kind of outbroke himself going into the chicane the last lap. That's why the bike went sideways. He had to wait for the bike to get back in line so that he could get through that chicane, and it was enough of a gap there that he couldn't do anything with Sean Dillon Kelly in that last corner. You can see it's going to be the same kind of scenario again. So unless he's going to really make a pass down into the chicane, if he just follows him in here, this is what I thought he should do. He's going to follow him in, and then maybe he's really good through the middle part of that chicane.
Getting ready to clock off lap number 7. Start lap number 7. Just left. Switch back onto the front straightaway. And Sean Dillon Kelly's been in this position before. He's been hounded here at Pitt Race and was able to pull it off in race number 2 last year against his teammate Bobby Fong, who went on to win the championship. But really what's impressive to me, Jason, is this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th place, especially from the 16 of Kevin Almeida. And that proves to me that Kevin has got a lot of racecraft. Here goes, pass for the lead. It looked like Escalante was getting it done.
He made it. Wow.
He did. What a move by Escalante.
I was worried for a minute when he disappeared out of our screen that he wasn't going to make that corner, but he was able to make it, Greg, and make that pass stick. Now Benjamin Smith is up on the back of Brandon Posh. We'll see if Benjamin can go through the S's with Brandon and catch back up to these two. We're also going to have a good look at the splits now. The Escalante is going to lead through this first split. It is the fastest first split until Aguilar. Aguilar goes fastest first split of the race on this lap as well.
So Escalante was able to do some homework on SDK. And now he's going, okay, I get it where you're quicker than I am, and I know where I'm quicker than you. And so Escalante is now throwing his cards on the table, trying to make a break. HONOS Kawasaki, Richie Escalante trying to hold off the advances of Sean Dillon Kelly, who just lost the lead. Well, you can tell from Richie Escalante's body language, he's really trying to put in a quick one, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking to some of the members of his team, The thing that they talked to him about before race 2 in Atlanta was, hey, we've got pace. Let's be patient. Let's just let the race come to us a little bit, because we've talked about some of the franticness that I feel like we've seen in Escalante's riding, and you could see it that second race in Atlanta. Once he got to the front, he was still running very fast laps, but everything was just a little bit more in control. Right now, I think if he starts to see that he can break away at all, that will help him develop the race that he wants to develop for the last 9 laps of it.
44.8 for Richie Escalante. He just dropped the fastest lap of the race by about 0.6 of a second or more.
But he got into turn 1 a little bit too deep. I could see that as he disappeared out of our screen. That's going to give SDK a run as they come up into turn 3.
Side by side they go. Sean Dillon Kelly, is he going to have it on the brakes? He does. So Escalante left himself vulnerable in turn 1. And here comes SDK 40 on that M4X Star Suzuki. It's the Suzuki versus the Kawasaki versus a Yamaha, as Brandon Posh, the 21, losing touch with these two as Escalante set the pace. So SDK only had 1 lap to study what Escalante's doing. Is Richie going to allow him to lead for a while? Well, SDK's holding him off.
And see, those are just little mistakes. That's really what it is. We saw Richie get into turn 1, and I could see when he disappeared out of our frame that he was in a little bit deep. SDK got in there nicely, got a good run out of turn 1, and was able to do something with Escalante as they went up into turn 3. So now Richie's got to do all that hard work again, watching the splits. We're going to see if SDK, oh, here we go again, Greg. No.
Oh, I thought it was. Yeah, I thought he was, but it just keeps spinning up.
Well, now he's really shown his hand in 2 spots against SDK as far as where he knows that he can pass him. So look at the drive he gets out of here.
There goes Escalante. Back to the lead. What a switchback move. And Sean Dillon Kelly cannot get him in the chicane. That would be such a hold your breath move. I can't even tell you. So now Escalante back out, trying to set the pace again. Richie telling me, Jason, that he really thinks about how his motorcycle has an advantage. He likes to slow it down a little bit more going into the corner and use the power of the Kawasaki to get out. And when he's following someone like Sean Dillon Kelly, who has a different riding style, that's when you see the bike start to move around a bit. He even asked me, called my attention to some past races we've seen this year, and he goes, you notice how I get in the front and everything smooths out? That's the reason for it.
Yeah, and here we go. We're going to see. This is the last lap. SDK got that run up into turn 3 and was able to make that pass. And look, Escalante again on the right side of our screen. He gets in there a little bit too deep again and just closes the gap up. So these are just a little bit of mistakes that, like you say, if Escalante cleans those little things up, I think he can pace it. He can run his own race. Big pass there on the left-hand side. That's a fast spot to do it. That's a fastest spot on the track as far as where that kink is there. So.
But this is what racing's all about for younger people watching. It's about what Sean Dillon Kelly's able to do. He's riding within himself, and he's keeping Escalante close. He's keeping the pressure on Escalante. So if, in the late stages of these races, Sean Dillon Kelly can stay in touch and Escalante makes moves like that again, I guarantee you SDK 40 is going to pounce.
You just got to keep pressuring him. You just got to keep putting that pressure on. You don't, if you're the rider in second, what you don't want to have Escalante's board put out to him is that he's gaining time. So it's really important SDK stays close. He's got a lot of laps left here. We saw this in Atlanta. We thought that the first day when Escalante got to the lead that he might be able to break away, and he didn't. Now Sean Dillon Kelly's kind of back in that same position again. The neat thing is you mentioned it earlier, he had some really good races here last year, and that second race scrap was a very, very intense one. Aguilar trying to look up the inside of Benjamin Smith, and he touches him. Actually hit him, but kept it upright. So glad to see that didn't end in a worse way there. Aguilar's going to drop back to 6th. Almeida being nice and patient back there. He's in 5th now behind Benjamin Smith.
Into turn 1. This is where he's had some problems, Escalante. Not too bad there. That was only about 1 bike length. So this could be a super fast lap by Richie Escalante. Got out front again and did a 44.9 from his fastest 44.8 to SDK's 45 flat. So only 1/10 of a second between these riders. As you have Escalante leads Kelly, Brandon Posh, Benjamin Smith, Kevin Almeida, Jason Aguilar after that mistake in 6th. Xavier Zayat, Lucas Silva in 8th place. Nate Minster in 9th. And Max Angles rounding out your top 10. Left part of your screen is that running order if you want to keep up to date. So Escalante, as we take a close look at the different sector times available on this racetrack to give us an indication, Jason, as we look at the 16 of Kevin Almeida, I can tell you that Escalante just set the fastest split
And I want you to look at something on Kevin Almeida. He's obviously, these guys have been racing so close. If you look at his right handlebar, you see that brake lever guard is bent straight up in the air.
It is.
That means that somewhere along the line, this close battle that these guys are having, he's made contact. See that there, Greg?
Yep.
That thing is going to be wrapped around normally down. It's going to be pointed downwards or protecting that front brake lever. So here's this near miss between Aguilar and Benjamin Smith, but I noticed it back in the screen a little bit further back that Almeida had that thing moved up into the air. So
right handlebar,
yep.
The throttle hand is what.
Look
wow.
at this. Oh.
Side by side through the chicane, Almeida makes a mistake. I mean, there was nowhere to go for him.
Yep.
He's going to fall into the clutches of Jason Aguilar on the 96. So Kevin Almeida has had a race to think about for sure. The way it started and a couple of scraps in the middle. And that mistake. Back up front we go. And all of a sudden, Richie Escalante goes 44.822 for the fastest lap of the race. Sean Dillon Kelly just grabs it from him, a 1:44.7.
Yep.
So SDK is not giving anything to Richie Escalante at the moment. Boy, this is turning into quite a battle as we have 6 laps remaining in this race.
Oh, Escalante's got the thing backed in there again, but he gets it stopped in the right spot in the middle of the apex of that corner. So he didn't run wide or anything. But now this is going to be a big boost of confidence for SDK to know that the pace has gone up and he's able to go with him.
So impressed for the 18-year-old Sean Dillon Kelly in his second year in MotoAmerica competition. Left part of your screen, this was that Almeida trying to get in there, and he looked like he just couldn't see that.
It's the gray area that you get yourself in sometimes as a rider. If you think that you can make it, but then the door gets closed on you, and it's so narrow in through that chicane. So just happy that when he went through the grass, we've been here in the past where that grass is really wet, and then there's a lot bigger problems. But he was able to keep the thing upright. These two guys have now broke away from that battle for third, and that is a battle back there for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. But these two have dropped the hammer, and what do they drop, Greg? Probably a good half second in the last couple laps.
If you're curious at the speeds of a 600cc Supersport machine in MotoAmerica competition, middleweight sport bikes, where MotoAmerica has their speed trap set up, last time by the speed trap, Sean Dillon Kelly, 150.7 miles per hour. Times just set all over the place in terms of personal sector times. Fastest outright split times, but to get to the checkered flag first, there's going to be 5 laps to go for Richie Escalante. He does a 44.8 to SDK's 44.9, so it doesn't look like Escalante has anything in the tank to break away from Sean Dillon Kelly. You get the feeling that this battle up front is going to go down to the last lap, as is this battle we're looking at right now for third place between Brandon Posh and Benjamin Smith. Jason Aguilar's in the mix. Aguilar is a champion in his own right, as is Brandon Posh in British Superbike from last year.
And Benjamin Smith as well.
Benjamin Smith as well. You're talking MotoAmerica and British Superbike champions. Of course, Moto3 for Posh. But Jason, what would this mean to the 88 of Benjamin Smith to get on the box?
Well, both Aguilar and Benjamin Smith are both just wanting to get on that box. And Benjamin Smith's having a lunge. He's going to go up underneath Brandon Posh to see if Brandon can cut it back underneath. He can't. Tremendous job from Benjamin Smith. This is going to give him a lot of confidence moving forward, Greg. That's what you're asking. And if you're a young guy like Benjamin, former KTM 390 Cup champion, has had a couple of good years on 600, but he's had some rough learning times along the way. But look how comfortable he looks on that bike now. Aguilar having a stab also at Posh.
So the 88 of Benjamin Smith, Glenmore, Pennsylvania, so his local race for MotoAmerica competitions on that Northeast Cycle Outlet Racing Yamaha R6 has worked his way into a podium position, and he's trying to break away. Right part of your screen, live pictures of the battle for third. Now we go full screen. As Brandon Posh, Celtic HSBK Racing, he has not had the cleanest weekend, struggling with the setup of his Yamaha R6, and you heard Hannah say that they were making all kinds of changes to the rear end of that motorcycle to find more rear end grip, and it looks like Benjamin Smith and his crew have got that motorcycle set up to perfection.
Man, Kevin Almeida is coming back to these guys too. He'd made a lap, the lap prior, he went 46s. He's back in the 45s, and the 3 in front of him are all in the 46s battling each other. So now it's just going to be a matter, I mean, any one of those 3. And the gap at the front, Greg, 44.6 to 44.9. It's 3 tenths. Just 3 tenths between them. And we saw Sean Dillon
Kelly going to turn 1 and just snap that rear end around when he was hard on the brakes. And Aguilar gets around Brandon Posh. So Posh marching backward for the moment. We'll see if he's got anything left. You go deep into this race. We heard in the interview before we got into the race that Posh said it was all about managing that tire and getting to the end. It's something he needs to work on. So he's still learning on this middleweight Supersport machine. By the way, these motorcycles, you can run down to your dealership and buy these bikes and make them race prepped and come on out to MotoAmerica Racing after you cut your teeth.
Sorry, I'm looking at Almeida. He's trying really hard. I think Almeida still feels like he's got some pace.
After you cut your teeth in the regional series. All right, so Richie Escalante, you can see now, is eked out over a half a second gap on Sean Dillon Kelly. So this is that final podium spot. Benjamin Smith, a national champion in his own right, trying to hold off the advances of a very hungry Jason Aguilar. Brandon Posh not giving him anything, and Kevin Almeida coming from the back of the grid. What a story that would be for the Altus Motorsports racer.
Yep, and then these guys on the right are going to continue to go at it. Aguilar's, oh, here we go. Aguilar on the right is going to make a pass in the last corner here, Greg. He does. He goes by Benjamin Smith. You can see in this lap he's gone by both Posh, and now Almeida takes a stab at Brandon Posh in the last corner. Look at these guys going back and forth.
Side by side they go. Smith's going to have it. Where's Aguilar going? There's no room there.
How about Almeida now? Has just gone by the both of them.
Kevin Almeida said, hey, that was a fun race to watch. I'm going to take the spot, and here comes Brandon Posh. So just like that, third place swaps in a blink of an eye. Yeah, and look at Kevin Almeida from the back of the grid.
And this is going to be great for him. I mean, if he can just run some clean air, Brandon Posh having a look up underneath him, and he's going to go by.
Oh, can he get it stopped? He does on the switchback, so now Posh in third. What a move by Brandon Posh. Just when you thought he was going backwards and counting out of the race, he's still got something left in that rear Dunlop tire.
I think if Kevin gets out of here good, he might try to do something when they get down in here into the S's. Brandon, really smart move, just protecting that inside line, not going to allow somebody to go up underneath him. It looks like Benjamin Smith dropped off the back of these guys really quickly here, so not sure if he's got a problem. That's a shame. He's got his leg out. I don't know what happened to Benjamin. That's too bad, though.
That is a heartbreaker.
If these guys got together, he might have done a linkage or something like that, Greg.
Yeah, they were touching.
Because you saw him look back at Jason Aguilar almost to say, is like, what's going on here? And if that's the case, he might have broken a linkage on the left side. We'll have a look at it.
You can see Kevin Almeida's roughed up. Oh, look at Almeida. Where are you going, Kevin? As Posh is wide and Almeida sneaks up the inside. Boy, you just keep seeing that brake protector on Kevin Almeida's right handlebar just sticking up in the air.
Yep.
Be interesting to see if he gets on the podium and we get to chat with him what happened early on in that race as the 16 Kevin Almeida out of El Salvador in the Altus Motorsports Suzuki GSXR 600 is now trying to get away from Brandon Posh and have third place all to himself with 2 laps to go in this race. Escalante has now put a stamp on his lead. He's got a 1.6 second lead over Sean Dillon Kelly. So it's all about who is going to occupy the final spot on the podium.
This is where Brandon was able to get him last lap, so we'll see if, I don't think Brandon's close enough this lap. That pass, when you go from turn 13 to 14, is completely blind, and it looks like Brandon actually gave him quite a bit of room there. When you have somebody come up underneath you there, that is a really gnarly place to pass somebody. So we've now been, I've basically been proven wrong. Obviously, it's very easy to pass here, Hunji.
They're making it look easy, but it is not easy.
It's not an easy place. You got to really commit here. And
but this is what Supersport's about. It's about how hungry you are to get this position and how hungry you are to show the superbike part of this paddock that you're ready to jump up to the next size motorcycle and get in the mix.
Look at this. Escalante has broke free of SDK, and he's just gone the fastest first split of the race at a 43.2. He gained 0.6 just in that first split. So as soon as he got to the front, Greg, he started running into the 44s, and you could see the consistency. 44.8s, and then 6.5, and then 4. So he is actually going faster as he goes, feeling very, very comfortable.
Unbelievable. Well, we know that he and his crew chief Chris Lessing and mechanic Derek Keys, they got together and talked about it, and whatever tire choice they made the right one, because Richie Escalante is on pace for the fastest lap of the race. There goes the HONOS Kawasaki rider Richie Escalante to take the white flag lap. 44.4 was the fastest lap of the race. He rolls out of it a little bit, a 44.5 for Escalante, and now that lead is up to 3 seconds over Sean Dillon Kelly. And Escalante now having fun with wheel in the air. Back to the battle for third.
Here we go.
And
Brandon
Posh.
Posh gets through on Almeida. I feel a little frustrated for Aguilar. He's never really got to the front of this, and I think he's got some pace, but he can't quite get himself into the spot that he needs to do it. So let's see if he tries to go up underneath Almeida as they go down into turn 3. He is, Greg. He's up underneath him, but he can't quite make it. Almeida lets go of that brake lever. He's going to keep himself in 4th for now.
The number 16, Kevin Almeida, last time he was on the podium in Supersport was race number 1 of the season. He was able to finish 3rd. Brandon Posh trying to keep alive a 4-podium appearance streak for the 21.
He's protecting again as they come down to the S's. Now he's got to do that now for the remainder of the lap. He knows that Almeida is not scared to try to do something between turn 13 and 14. They are right now in the 8, 9, 10, 11 area of the track. So that spot's coming up. He's going to want to try to protect that line down into 13. And then really, Greg, you've got to protect yourself into that chicane.
Look how good that HONOS Kawasaki ZX6R looks underneath Richie Escalante, the 25-year-old from Mexico, making a statement here at Pitt Race as Richie Escalante gets through the chicane cleanly, sends it sideways, a little bit of chatter from the rear end, having fun. He'll work his way into turn number 18 and then back to the left onto the front straightaway. Richie Escalante grabs another victory in MotoAmerica Supersport Racing, his 6th of the season and 7th podium in 7 races. Sean Dillon Kelly in for 2nd spot as we await the battle for 3rd, and it looks like Brandon Posh gets 3rd, and it's Jason Aguilar who gets around Kevin Almeida for 5th spot.
There must have been something going on in that last corner because I watched Almeida follow Brandon into the chicane. And it looked like Brandon had a little bit of a gap, and a little bit further back, that's going to be Lucas Silva beating Xavier Zayat. So Lucas Silva, good run for him as well.
Outstanding ride for Lucas Silva, the number 23, who will grab himself 10 points for that 6th place finish so far for Lucas Silva. His best is 5th on the year, but Richie Escalante having a look around his motorcycle. I'll tell you what, man, what a transformation we have seen from this guy. He's had confidence in himself throughout his whole career racing. It's a matter of just getting on a motorcycle with a team that just works for him, Jason. And
resources,
we just see it clicking, click, click, click. And can't say enough about HONOS Kawasaki's technical partner, Graves Motorsports, and the information that they're able to get and send information off to Chuck Graves. For a lot of you race fans out there, remember that. Chuck's still deeply involved in motorcycle road racing, MotoAmerica, building these bikes, and unbelievable. And what a race we saw by Sean Dillon Kelly. He's put up such a fight. I mean, there is no give up in this guy at all.
Yep, he's trying. He's just going to keep rolling it over, like he says, and just keep going along. He's,
I think he wants to go racing and make some changes and go racing right away. More coming at you from Pitt Race. Don't go anywhere. Escalante having fun after his race win.
Today's Supersport race coverage has been sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Back at Pitt Race here in Wampum, Pennsylvania, also known as Pittsburgh International Race Complex. Here's a look at our results for Supersport as Richie Escalante will look back in the record books and see that he won this one by 4.7 seconds. And then that battle for 3rd, which was awesome, right to the very end. Brandon Posh, Jason Aguilar, and Kevin Almeida. Somebody needs to give Kevin Almeida a hug and a water because that was quite a spectacular race and on through the field. So, Jason, it was a spectacular race, which means that we get to go down to Hannah and hear how Richie Escalante thought of the race. Hannah?
Another race victory for Richie Escalante. Richie, take us through those last few laps and how you were able to break away from Sean Dillon Kelly.
First laps, I come to feeling good, when step by step, feeling a little bit better. So I'm really happy, another victory. Just take thanks to we are HONOS, Graves, Kawasaki. I'm really happy right now. It's a special moment this year, special, so many wins. So I like to continue like this. Thanks to my crew chief Lessing, my mechanics Derek, Patrick, Jason. I'm really happy right now. So congratulations, Sean. You very pushed me every race, try to improve my riding style. So I'm very, very happy and ready for tomorrow.
Congratulations, Richie Escalante, today's race winner.
And for Richie Escalante, Jason, 16 laps recorded in this race, and he gets the fastest lap of the race on lap number 14, which proves so many things, how good the setup is, how great the tires are, and obviously the physical fitness, Richie Escalante. Let's get right back down to Hannah, who has our second place finisher, Sean Dillon Kelly.
Okay, Sean Dillon Kelly, an incredibly hard-fought battle. You were leading, you were passing, you were making some serious big moves on Richie Escalante. Where do you think you fell a little bit short?
Yeah, we showed a good fight today, and I just need to be happy because I gave my 100%. Really just try to fight out there and give my 100%, and you know we still are falling a little short towards the end of the race, but again, compared to the start of the season, we're showing that we're there, and we just keep on fighting. Congrats to Richie, another race win for him and his team, and for me, like I said, I know we're pushing on 100%. Thank you to my crew chief Jeremy Toy, my whole M4 X-Star Suzuki team. They're pushing really hard. We're trying on this machine, and we're showing that we can give them a fight. So we've got tomorrow, which is the good news, and we're just gonna sleep tonight, do our homework, and get back stronger tomorrow.
Sean, looking ahead to tomorrow, what were you able to learn from Richie in today's race that you can use to your advantage tomorrow?
Definitely a few things. I'm sure he learned from me during the race, and I know I learned from him. So just certain things that, you know, because of riding style and difference in bikes that we have, certain things that are back and forth, but it's good to learn from each other and definitely keep ourselves moving forward.
Congratulations, Sean. Thank you.
All right, Jason, for SDK and his crew chief Jeremy Toy, they'll be thinking about it a lot tonight as Sean Dillon Kelly in 7 races is now 6 podium finishes in a row with a win. And man, you know what? You talk to SDK, I talk to SDK, you know he is so hungry right now for another win.
He puts a nice positive spin on it, but I know he's frustrated. He wants to win these races, and let's just jump back down to Hannah.
Third place today goes to Brandon Posh. Brandon, another third place for you. An intense battle with so many riders in that pack. How were you able to come out on top?
Yeah, we definitely fought for that one, and the last few laps I was trying to eye up them guys that come around me and just try and make the best out of, you know, struggling a little bit. So can't thank the whole Celtic HSBK Racing team, Owens, Dunlop, my crew chief Robin, who actually wasn't able to make it this weekend, Brian, Glenn, Paulie, everybody that's helping us out. It means a lot, and yeah, Fresh and Lean for paying the bills, CCC Manhattan, just everybody else is helping us out, Evolve GT. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations, Brandon Posh.
All right, so Brandon Posh continues his podium streak. We'll have more from Pit Race in a moment. A heart pounder of a Supersport race wrapped up. Race number 1 of 2 for the weekend here in Wampum, Pennsylvania, as Richie Escalante gets to stand on top of the podium. Let's take a look at some race highlights, Jason, because, boy, there were race battles all over the place, but we were really focused on that top 6.
Yeah, and today we had a top 6, which was good. You can see the front row there was missing Kevin Almeida. He'd make a great run from the back of this grid. But at the start, it was Sean Dillon Kelly and Richie Escalante who kind of took turns swapping places back and forth. Now, we've seen this in the past. You can see Escalante makes a move in that last corner. These guys all got very creative with where they were doing their passing. This is in the middle of the S's. SDK goes back up underneath him, would lead for a few laps. Brandon Posh, all the while, was staying right there, and he took advantage while his tires were still underneath him to make the pass on Escalante as well. As the race continued to go, that pack didn't get any smaller. It kept on getting bigger. Almeida joined that pack of 5 guys and made it 6. Benjamin Smith was in there early as well as Jason Aguilar. Escalante made this pretty defiant pass, though, Greg, with about 4 or 5 laps to go, and immediately started to hammer down into the 44s. Now, this, we're not sure what happened to Benjamin Smith, but he rode a very good race, but something had happened between him and Aguilar, possibly. But Escalante, all the while, pulled away at the end of that race to win by 4 seconds.
So Richie Escalante trying to win his first MotoAmerica championship. For Escalante, he gets another 5 points over Sean Dillon Kelly, so 45 adrift. That's almost 2 full races for the 25-year-old Escalante. And Jason, one thing a lot of people don't know is that in his home country of Mexico, he has 3 national championships over several years. So the one thing to note about Richie Escalante is that even though he hasn't won a championship here in MotoAmerica, he knows how to do it just in another part of the world.
Yeah, and really when you think about it, Sean Dillon Kelly's doing all he can to kind of put pressure on him and force him into a mistake. Richie's making tiny mistakes, but he's getting him out of the way kind of in the middle of the races, and then he's able to get by, and then he's breaking his own lap records towards the end of the race or own fast lap times. So right there at the end of the race, 2 laps to go, he ran the fastest lap of the race. It's hard to beat a guy like that.
Yeah, so definitely the M4 X-Star Suzuki team is going to go back tonight and take a look at their numbers and figure out how do we get after the 54. For Richie Escalante, another outstanding victory, and he does it here at a different racetrack, Pitt Race. Can he do it again tomorrow, or will Sean Dillon Kelly stand on top of the box? We're looking forward to finding out. With you, for Jason Pridmore, Hannah Lopa, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow from Pittsburgh International Race Complex.